Hi guys, Lights here with another Battlefield 3 gameplay video for you guys. Today what I'm going to be trying to do is bring you a quick guide to the new Gunmaster mode released in the Close Quarters DLC. What I'm going to try and do is bring you some general tips to playing the actual game mode, as well as some more specific pointers towards one or two of the weapons which might be a bit difficult to get past. The gameplay that you're going to see consists of two Gunmaster games on Zebra Tower that I run recently, and I've just spliced them together depending on what point I'm trying to make to better demonstrate it. The first point that I think is really important to make is that Gunmaster is absolutely not a team game. Yes, you have your teammates, and yes, you even get pointed into a squad, but there can only be one winner at the end of the day. Now this kind of goes against Battlefield convention. From all the other Battlefield games, they're all based around teamwork, and this kind of flies in the face of that. What that does mean is that all those things that you've learnt and conditioned yourself to do, for example spotting, you're going to have to try and unlearn for this game type. So what this means in practical terms is, do not spot your enemies. Yes, it might make it a bit easier for you to see them if they duck behind cover by glancing at your minimap, but it also makes it a fair bit easier for your teammates as well. Just quickly before I go on to some of the more general tips, I'd just like to talk about the 93R Raffica. It actually has two firing modes, burst and single fire, and as you can see in that clip just there, I usually keep it on single fire mode for longer range engagements and switch to the burst fire for short range engagements. This makes it really easy to pick off enemies at long range without trying to hit them with the burst. So moving back onto the original point about Gunmaster not actually being a team game, one of the ways this comes into play is moving away from your team. Whereas in other Battlefield modes you might be well placed to move in with your squad and moving in with your team, in Gunmaster the opposite happens. What you'll tend to find is that teams tend to move in either a clockwise or an anti-clockwise direction around the map. What I like to do is I like to break off, and whichever way the little arrows on the minimap are pointing, showing my teammates, I'll tend to run the other way. This will allow you to flank the enemy and get the kills that you need. Another point that I'd like to make is that what you want to do is look out for these little skulls that you see on your heads-up display. These signify when a teammate is recently been downed. If you notice one of the skulls and there's not another one of your teammates around there, what that means is that the enemy may still be in the area. So go and have a look over there and see if you can spot any enemies and bring them down. Aside from keeping moving, the other key point in winning Gunmaster games is to completely forget about your KD ratio. If you want to win, you need to get kills. It doesn't necessarily matter how many times you die in that process, unless obviously you die to one person over and over again. But what you need to do is you need to get your kills with your guns to level up as quickly as possible. What this means is that if you see a group of enemies, go at them. Even if you only get one or two, what this means is that you'll advance in level and they'll only have killed you. Between the 2, 3, 4 or even 5 of them, depending on how many of them there are. Another point that goes hand in hand with this is always shooting to kill. Now what I mean by this is that you should always try and get the kill with your gun as opposed to with your knife. Yes, when you knife somebody they will be demoted, but you also don't actually gain a level, and you're vulnerable to the rest of that guy's teammates while you're in the process of knifing him. So unless it's one of your mates on TeamSpeak or what have you, and you know they're on the knife stage and you want to demote them onto that god-awful grenade launcher stage, I would avoid knifing people at all costs. Moving on, I think it's really important to try and get a good start to the game. If you join part way through, you will find it a bit more difficult to keep up with some of the weapons that some of the guys that are higher up will have for the assault rifles and the like. But the way that Gunmaster is designed is that even if you do fall behind, there are stages which will hold up certain players, and if you know how to get around them, then you can catch up. What you might find is if you join part way through, is to treat the game as a practice mode. That way you won't get as frustrated as quickly, and that's part of what makes Gunmaster what it is. You can get really frustrated while you're playing it, especially when you start seeing all of those kill assists popping up at the bottom of your screen. Just try and remember, for every kill assist that you do get, you probably also have stolen a kill, if you like, from another one of your teammates. Try and keep a cool head. Last thing you want to do is get frustrated and then you start making silly mistakes. In terms of the actual gunplay itself, you do have unlimited ammo, so don't worry about being conservative. Just unload on somebody if you see them. If you die, so be it. If you don't, you can always reload and try again. Now what we've got onto here in the clip is the infamous Mark III automatic shotgun with frag rounds. And what you can see I'm doing is I'm actually shooting at the floor below the enemy players, or at the walls behind them, as opposed to at their body mass themselves. What this means is that hopefully they'll be caught in the splash damage and take enough hits to die, as opposed to if you try to shoot at them where the frag round will just go right past them. This is one of the only weapons where I'd probably recommend trying to go around with your team. along with the grenade launcher, in that you want to try and steal those kills as much as possible, because it can be such a pain to try and bring down a player if they're armed with something a bit more direct. Another quick tip is, if you want to reload cancel, obviously you can't switch to your secondary weapon or your pistol in this game mode. But what you can do is you can switch to your knife, so give a quick nudge to your scroll wheel or switch to your knife to cancel the reload. This can be especially useful with some of the longer reloading weapons such as the light machine guns. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly skip through this part of the gameplay so we can get towards more of the end game and how to actually go about finishing off these Gunmaster games. Now just over here, you see me turn to the right and go up onto this part of the balcony on Zebra Tower. Now this is one of the best lurk spots in Gunmaster on any of the maps. From up here, you'll constantly get people walking through, poking their heads out the windows, coming up the stairs, and you've got such a good vantage point that you can go from a really low level onto a really high one really quickly. And this works both ways. When you're playing on this map and any of the other maps, you want to try and avoid the areas where players can get long sight lines down them, so that's your corridors and this open plaza down here for example. And you want to try and use the terrain to your advantage, so as you can see from up here, I've got a good vantage point, I've got a good height advantage here, and I'm constantly looking left and right to see if anybody's going to try and come up the stairs at me. Now another benefit of a position like this is something that we as gamers don't often realise that we're capable of, and that's actually trying to go back against the guy who we saw killed us in the kill cam. And so what you tend to find is it's the same 3 or 4 guys that you've killed already will keep trying to make a push to come back up here to knock you off your perch. And what you need to do is stay here and watch them when they come. This works both ways again. If you do get killed by the same guy sat in some lurk spot somewhere, avoid going at them, go after his teammates instead, or see if you can work a way around them. Now like all good things, it must come to an end. And as you can see here, your teammates will eventually get wind of what you're doing and they'll come right up here, and there'll be nothing left for you apart from kill assist. Now here we've moved on to the M417, one of my favourite new weapons from the new DLC. This weapon has a one-hit kill headshot at close range, and that's anything below 15 meters. So when you get onto this stage, try not to hang back and snipe opponents from long distance. Actually run up right at them, and if you get a lucky headshot, you've dropped them straight away. Otherwise it's only 2 hits at close range. Now as with a lot of these weapons, the M417 benefits from a laser sight. Now this holds true for the light machine guns, the assault rifles and the submachine guns, and what it means is that your hip fire will be a lot closer together than it would be without. So take advantage of this, and if your enemy is close range, don't bother aiming down sight. Use that extra half a second to spray at the enemy, and hopefully that will keep you alive. Now moving on to the bolt action sniper rifles, as you can see I like to be really aggressive and get my kills that way with it. But that might not work for you, so you might prefer to actually wait down one of those longer corridors that we talked about and pick off the submachine gun users or the shotgun users from long range. Now moving on to the grenade launcher, what you see me doing here is I see the guy coming towards me and I shoot the grenade at the stairs. Now players on Gunmaster will tend to chase after you if they see you, so shooting a grenade at your feet and running away around a corner or up some stairs tends to work really well. Whatever you do, don't stop firing. Keep firing into highly trafficked areas or around corners. You've got unlimited ammo, and you never know when you might get a lucky kill from somebody spawning perhaps, or chasing after one of your teammates. Now moving on to the knife itself, you just want to keep moving with this weapon. You never know when there might be another guy around the corner, so keep your wits about you. An important thing to remember with a knife is that you don't actually need to get a knife animation kill, you just need to get a knife kill. So if you can get lucky and just get one of the slash kills, then go for that, so run at groups of wounded enemies and the like. That's the end of the guide. Thanks for watching guys. If you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments box below. Give me a like if you found it helpful, and I'll also leave a list of the points I made in the comments description below. Take care guys. On edge constantly.